Johnny Marr is with us today.
I think the key of G is very upbeat, I think.
What's the key?
I think you can be a rock star playing covers in a pub.
What makes him the rock star? Is it just the way he carries himself, the clothing?
The amount of gobbles he gets.
Endeavour, I would say, is the right way of putting it.
You did a spell inside, 2 days, I believe, right?
It was very scary because it was looking like I was going to do a much longer spell.
Did you try and persuade him?
He wasn't on the gear, actually. Well, he was my mate. I don't think anyone should be defined by anything through a tiny little window in their life.
Could you tell us about the last blowout you had?
Is there a way back for Bobby Devereaux?
No.
Studio, but don't worry about that. Johnny Marr is with us today. Founding member of the Smiths, electronic, the most annoying band name of all time. Johnny Marr and the Healers, and part of Modest Mouse, among other collaborations, and now here today on Bad Boys Done Good.
Nice to be here. I'm a fan of both your work.
You a fan of the pod?
I am a fan of the pod, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Of course I'm, yeah.
You watch some episodes?
I do watch some episodes, yeah.
Nice. What's your favourite so far then, Johnny?
I liked Ed Byrne. I thought Ed Byrne was good because I know his work.
Right.
But some of your other guests, actually, I enjoyed, but I wasn't really that up to gen on a lot of the work, so that was kind of a bit of an education as well.
Right, we had Dirty Dyke recently as well.
Yeah, I've yet to see that one, but I've watched quite a few of them. I enjoy him. Like him.
I think you respect him as a musician. He's on his own trip, as you are, from Day Dot.
Yeah.
You've had 2 UK #1 albums, a US #1 album, multiple awards, an honorary doctorate from Salford Uni.
Right, yeah.
I mean, the awards keep on coming.
You get them as you get older for being in the game for a long time.
For just still being around.
Yeah.
Still being alive.
And not being terrible, yeah.
Could you tell us about the last fucking blowout you had? What was it like? It must have been exciting coke. Who was fucking disgusting? That would be nice for our listeners to hear.
Yeah, I'm laughing because that was pretty much the case, yeah.
Let's picture the scene. Where were you?
Picturing the scene. I think the last time I had a blowout, I think would have been around about 2001. So it's been about 25 years now because time goes by so quickly, right?
Yeah.
And
9/11 sort of period.
I played with Oasis, about Oasis, yeah. And I'd had a few goes at packing in drinking, and it did take a few goes. I can recommend it to anyone who's interested.
To give it up?
Yeah, it took a few goes, and I had the intention of it, and maybe I'd packed in for a few weeks, but what better way of a send-off than having played a stadium with Oasis,
right?
And getting back to the hotel with my band and my wife, and really tying one on.
What about Liam Gallagher? It must be tricky to do a line of fucking gear with that guy. He might be a bit
what?
A bit much. Or is it fun? I don't know. Does he relax on the alcohol? Or he gets worse?
He doesn't relax, no. I haven't partied with Liam for a long time, but I used to have some really good times with him out on the road. It gets very, it kind of gets very, Beatles songs turned up to 11.
Oh, yeah.
But the guitars come out.
Do they really?
Half songs get played over and over again.
And you got to pretend to like what he's doing, have you?
Along those lines, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
I join in.
Great, I love it. Brilliant lyrics, mate. Love
it.
Love the way you've rhymed hat with cat. Very good.
So you got a lot of famous friends, right? Would you be able to tell us about some of the mundane things that you've seen them do? You ever seen like Keith Richards complaining about parking restrictions in his borough? Or Paul Weller bringing in an Ocado delivery? You ever seen that?
I just had a cup of tea with Paul Weller this morning.
Wow.
I went to get...
this morning?
I went to get... well, this is me being Mundane. This very morning, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we want to hear.
I went to get... do you know Alan Keyes?
Yeah, he was the manager of Creation Records, wasn't he?
Nearly. Close. I got my guitar this morning and it wasn't set up right. I wasn't able to play it the way... It wasn't technically acting right. So I had to go to a little hardware store, which still exists in my neighbourhood, and I had to go and try and buy some Allen keys. And if I wasn't able to get these Allen keys, my day would have been much more difficult.
Yeah, that is a very mundane story. Thank you for sharing. You ever have a lot of experience? You got a lot of obsessive fans. You ever had a weird fan experience? You ever snapped at a fan?
I'll be honest. Yeah, I think I have I'm not known for it.
Tell us about that.
I'm not known for it.
You're a very measured, calm guy, but somebody must have fucking overstepped at some point.
Let's hear about it.
Well, no.
You know they did. They
Don't
must
miss
have
a detail.
a little bit too comfortable. And you have to say, hey, ho,
Tell us about it.
I'm trying to have a fucking matcha latte here. Get the fuck out my face. All due
look,
respect.
I like people, so I tend to, and as I said,
We all like fucking people.
and I tend to. My exchanges with people for 40 years now, man and boy, are nearly always very friendly and very nice and respectful and just nice, right?
Let's do a scenario.
Yeah,
Let's
I've
act
had
it
weird
out.
stuff.
I'll be a fan. You tell me when I'm getting over the line. Hey, how you doing? Could you sign this for me?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
All right. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good. I see you're staying at the Grosvenor Hotel, room 459.
No, mate.
I'm
no.
on the same floor. I saw you earlier. You're-
Oh,
I know this is where you probably see people like me all the time. Your music could change my fucking life.
Yeah.
Believe me, like that track Rubicon, track 12 of Fever Dreams, it got me through some serious shit.
okay.
I don't. What are you
yeah.
up to, Al? Can I get you a drink? I know you don't drink. Maybe a fucking soda, something like that.
well-
Sandwich, any kind you like.
Well, I'm actually just about to check out. Actually,
I know this is a bit strange,
check
but
out the hotel right now.
would you fuck my wife? I could watch. We got an arrangement.
I'm celibate.
Where you going? Come back. Come back. Oh, you were very calm. Was that at all pushing the limits? You were very calm.
No, I'm pretty good at it. I'm pretty practiced at it.
Fucking trained.
It's a real skill.
I tend to think that that people mean, even if they're being really invasive, that behind it is a good-natured
Absolutely.
intention,
Right.
but it's just a little bit misguided.
So when you're back from tour, do you sort of bring the tour back with you? Or are you able to turn off, or do you sort of make the missus shag you in the carsy and throw plectrums at the postman and all that sort of thing? Or are you able to sort of relax?
My life is always kind of. I never really switch off when I come off tour. It's the life of a musician. It was the life I wanted, and I crossed my fingers and wanted. So I don't really have a kind of particular cut-off point. I'd like to flick plectrums at the postman, and I've romantic encounters in the car with my wife. Why would I want that to stop?
Right, and you give a piece of paper with a set list to some fucking weirdo on the doorstep. Can I have your set list? Can I have your set list? There's always one in there.
Yeah,
Do you feel sorry for that sad cunt who waits back for the set list, or do you think good luck to you?
No, I don't do either really. I sort of takes all sorts to make a world. Really, that's the way I think.
You ever hit a guy?
Oh, a fan? No, never hit a fan. No, but I've fled from fans. I've run away from fans.
But you never hit one. But you have hit guys recently or in the past.
Oh, in my younger days, but I wasn't very good at it.
You ever shouted at a sound engineer during the live show, fucking it up? Or did you get him quietly taken off the tour for one of your people? Because that's fucking with the bottom line there.
I have done that, but in my case, I've sometimes been around. I've worked with partners, singers who have got there before me and been angry.
Like Morrissey, did he do it?
Not so much Morrissey. I think a couple of Isaac Brock from Modest Mouse was pretty lively. Isaac was a lively frontman, and crew people had to be on their toes. He wasn't a nasty guy, but he was. He went into a zone and still does when he's on stage.
Is being a rock star a state of mind? Can you still be a rock star if you're just playing fucking covers in a pub? Do you believe that you need something to make you official? Can it really
what's the
be
line?
anybody?
Where does it start?
I think you can be a rock star playing covers in a pub.
What makes him the rock star? What is it about him? Is it just the way he carries himself, the clothing?
The amount of gobbles he gets?
Right.
It's the dedication that he or she puts into, and
Or they.
the endeavour, I would say, is the right way of putting
Right,
it.
that's a good word there.
Yeah, I'd say intention.
Right, okay. I mean, I saw you at the Apollo last year. Thanks for the tickets, by the way.
Oh, anytime.
Wonderful show. A lot of your fans, the older ones, middle-aged geezers, standing at the back. I call them Glens. Geezers called Glenn.
Okay.
Bald, don't fucking move. How does it feel looking out after 40 years in the game? You're giving it everything, and you see a sea of bald geezers standing still, staring, waiting to come up to you and ask for the set list. Is it Bug? Do you want to say, or do you fucking move?
I'm grateful that they're there, and I know that they're there because they don't move because they're kind of shy, really. You know, that's all it is. You know,
Really?
Yeah, that's the way I feel when I'm on
'cause they're
stage.
dead
But
inside, dreary.
well, it's my job. It's my job to start a fire in there, isn't
Well,
it?
you come on, swinging your hips, 61. Don't look a day over 30. Lovely toop, giving it everything.
Yeah.
And they're standing there, probably 10 years younger than you,
Yeah,
working in insurance.
yeah.
They need to show some fucking respect.
And then you've got the young Smiths fans there, obviously, in the sort of clobber, monochrome set T-shirt, T-bars,
Yeah.
pleated skirt, NHS glasses, swinging it about. That's what you want to see, isn't
So
it?
let me ask you, is selling out a big thing? Like, would you ever have considered a brand partnership with W.H. Smith?
So,
That's the cockroach at the high street. It's going nowhere.
I don't think W.H. Smith would be a decent enough look.
Yeah.
But
Have you done any adverts? Do you let your music be used in ads?
Yeah, I do. I do sometimes. Yeah.
What do you say yes to and what do you say no to?
Oh well, I wouldn't advertise anything to do with animal products or the meat industry, or
Cars?
no, I don't think I would advertise
Planes?
anything. No, absolutely.
Weapons?
100%. No, none of that. And
Even if they're vegetarian weapons?
That's your conundrum.
yeah,
Like plant-based
plant-based weapons.
missiles.
I might have to consider that. I think because that's kind of a humane way of
Killing people.
delivering genocide, probably. Yeah,
Right,
I think
okay.
so.
You know, they say podcasting is the new rock and roll. You heard that? I mean, look around.
Yeah,
Do you think it's a bit like rock and roll, what we're doing here?
yeah, it is. I say, yeah, creative, a little bit maverick,
know,
a little walking on the wild side.
Bad Boys Done Good is now proudly sponsored by Wellsbourne Market,
The biggest open-air market in the Midlands.
with stalls selling the latest fashion trends,
Home security items.
hair care,
Meat.
workwear,
Blankets. Pillows and cushions.
and much, much more. A fun day out for all the family.
With free parking and fully tarmacked walkways.
Just off the A429 near Leamington Spa.
You did a spell inside, 2 days, I believe, right? What was that like? You did a couple of days inside the jail, right?
So it wasn't only a couple of days. Yeah, it was very scary because it was looking like I was going to do a much longer spell.
Right,
Oh,
that's
really?
terrifying. You know, fellow musician Rolf Harrison, he was the host of Animal Hospital. He got jailed for historic sex crimes. When he was locked up inside, he was fashioning didgeridoos out of toilet rolls.
Yeah, well,
Did you hear that?
no, he was at an advantage there really because I couldn't really do that.
You can't make a guitar inside.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, who was your rival? Who were you looking at every time you'd hear them and go, fucking hell? Or you get a bit like, you got a bit sort of competitive.
I remember when New Order would put a single out. A couple of times New Order put a single out, like when they put Truth Faith out. But there was a couple of moments when I thought, okay, well, how does ours? We've got to either. Oh, okay, well, the game's been upped a little bit,
Right.
and I think that's a young thing, and I think it's a healthy thing. But ultimately, it's born out of respect because I was playing this record and going, shit, that's pretty good.
Right.
Did you start a band to get laid? Because that's what a lot of people do.
Well, I've been with my wife since I was a kid, so that
Angie.
wasn't really, Angie, yeah. So Angie and I have been together since I was 15, but
That's incredible. Do you have a sort of arrangement when you're on the road, like a couple cocktail waitresses per state?
she comes on the road with me, so I've never really had to
keep an eye.
look into that.
Were you ever tempted by other women? By the fruit of another?
No,
Never tempted once
What a guy.
in 46 years.
never needed to. I've been with my girl since I was 15.
By the way, can I look
It's
at your
never
hands?
totally-
Because you're one of the world's biggest electronical guitarist players. Let's have a look at the hands here.
There you go.
Wow, the things they've done. They are incredible, very soft. Do you have a regime, a skincare routine?
I've heard that before.
Because I'd expect to have fucking like calluses and shit like that.
The end of these have got they've got no fingerprint on.
Nah, they're still in
whatsoever.
good condition, man.
They're kind of nice calluses.
They're beautiful. Would you hold it up to the camera over there? Yeah, look at that.
Can I? Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Johnny, when you first heard Morrissey's voice, Stephen, we'll call him Steve-O? Steve-O. When you first heard Steve-O's voice, did you laugh? Because we've all got used to it now as a culture, but surely at the time, first hearing it, did you go, fucking hell, really?
Well, I was more concerned with the words, really, because the words were quite radical on the early songs.
Right.
But no, I was delighted when I heard the voice. Two men on
Mancunians.
an endeavour, that word again, together.
Did you feel like the music you were doing was subversive, that you were somehow entering a sort of pile of shit in the culture and doing something special there, sort of a smash and grab?
The answer to that is yes. I did feel like what we were doing. Let's put it this way: I didn't actually anticipate that we were going to be as commercial sounding or as commercially accepted. I thought we were going to be a bit more of a fringe underground band. I think all the band felt like that.
Right.
But just to be good on that level, there was a thing called the John Peel Show, which was really dedicated to the underground. And our first sort of wish was to be good enough to be respected in that arena. So the fact that we went on to actually to gate crash the mainstream, I was very proud of it, because I'd seen my heroes do that.
You did Top of the Pops, right?
We did do Top of the Pops,
Did
yeah.
you meet Savile on that thing? Was it?
I don't think I ever met Savile now.
That's nice. You did Tonight Show with David Letterman. You've been all over, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever encounter, when you were doing that, a generational sex predator lurking in plain sight over there?
No, none come to mind. I think I've been pretty lucky in that regard.
Certainly have.
Thing is, right, Johnny, when I listen to the Smiths, right, I think, God, I love that guitar. And I think, I wish that fucking geezer weren't singing over the top. That's what I always think. I just want to listen to that guitar. But now there's a new app where you can actually swap out the front man for someone else.
Is it really?
So I've got Chaz and Dave over the top now, and it sounds so much better. I'll mix it up. I've sometimes got Ian Dury on there,
Yeah.
Frank Sinatra, same songs, same lyrics, just a better singer.
Oh, amazing.
Was there criticism of the band? Did people say,
thought
I want to
of that.
like it, but that fucking geezer's singing over it?
I mean, I liked it. I loved it. So
You liked the voice?
So I was okay. Yeah, I loved it.
Didn't bother you?
No, it didn't bother me. I thought it was in the best band in the world. It was great.
That's
Well,
a
you
good feeling.
sounds like you fucking were.
Right. And there was an early sort of tabloid suggestion of paedophilia in the lyrics, isn't it right? There was sort of Gary Bushell implied that Morrissey was a nonce.
I sort of remember something about that. Yeah, but Gary Bushell, I mean, come on. I mean, he hasn't really dated very well, has he? So I never.
I don't even know the guy.
Nah. I remember him being a sort of troublesome bloke around at the time. So
He looked like a geezer you'd probably bump into in a public toilet.
Unless it's kind of out in the open and that's what you're saying, I think it's kind of disrespectful from him to accuse Morrison of being a. I'm not even going to say
the
the
lyrics,
word.
no, I wouldn't say he was. He was saying the lyrics were a bit nonce adjacent.
Nah, I'm not going to go there.
Well, that's just tabloid homophobia, I think.
Correct.
Especially in that time.
No, I'm a queer, by the way. So I find that stuff.
fair enough.
I bet you got a lot of famous people in your phone. Who's the most famous number you got?
Alicia Keys, maybe.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
What time is it in America?
I only say that because I'm surprised myself that I've got Alicia's number.
Do you speak regularly?
Not regularly, no.
You
But
text?
I've worked with her. I've worked with her a couple of times.
Right.
You ever met Nish Kumar?
I've yet to meet Nish Kumar.
What do you think he'd be like? Because I'm a huge fan of Nish.
I don't really know very much about him. I've seen on the
just-
pod that you guys are. I've seen on the pod that you're a great
He loves
advocate. I'd say.
He loves him.
I just think what he's doing in the climate we're in,
Is that right?
it's important work.
Do I need to get on board with that?
I think so. Maybe you should do a fucking song with Nish. Let's just elevate the guy. I mean, he's doing all right.
I believe he's doing all right. Yeah.
What do you think makes a song terrible? Not one of yours, but other people.
What makes a song terrible?
What makes you listen to a song and you think, Jesus fucking Christ, turn that shit off?
I think something that has been phoned in. I think that's the quickest way of putting it. You know, phone in, like really surface lyrics, auto-tuned to hell,
Right.
cliched chord changes.
Would it upset you if you made all your music and the fan base were bad people, like fucking racists or estate agents and shit like that? Because you can't choose them. Would that make you want to stop?
I think estate agents is probably crossing the line. Really, I think I'd probably.
Nobody wants to hear that
I'd pack
shit.
it in.
So if you were on
I'd pack it
stage
in.
at the Apollo, and then you find out there's a work party from Foxton's, front row.
Oh,
would you call the gig, walk off, pull
Yeah,
the plug out?
That makes me feel uncomfortable, frankly.
That make you angry?
Yeah, I would actually. Yeah, I think I think the rest of the band would also.
That's when you lose your temper, you motherfuckers. Well, you did a song for, was it Inception? You were on Inception?
I was on Inception.
I love that Hans Zimmer song from Inception time.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. You know the one I mean?
Yeah, I played on that song. Yeah.
You played on fucking time.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
You shitting me. What did you play on
Which
it?
bit were you
I
in?
played guitar on it. I played the bit where it goes do 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 do.
You
Do
like
you know
that
this
bit?
bit?
You're always going on about that bit.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I mean, is it hard to be understated when you know you can do so much? Do you want to just go?
No, it's easier.
Is it?
Yeah, it's easier, but the
Because you've done everything, now you're going to strip it
yeah,
back.
it's a little bit like it's a little bit like being told to slow down. If you're running on a racetrack and you slow, well, you don't really need. You can chill out a little.
Do
bit.
you have any vices? Do you race cars and shit like that? That's what rock stars do. Or you go the other way and you're into meditation,
Yeah.
tantric sex.
That's
Yeah.
the other way is my thing, really. I'm kind of obsessive about what I do get into, which I think is kind of handy when you get older. But yeah, I'm into meditation and all of that.
By the way, watch some Crimbles if you want to.
Oh, yeah, we got you
Get
some gifts.
So
Big
that was-
choc
got
macaroons.
Two
Gluten
pieces
free.
of vegan
And-
cake and some vegan energy balls.
Oh,
all vegan.
That's so good of you. Thank you.
If you're
yeah.
hungry now, Johnny, you're very welcome to eat.
Maybe don't eat now, the rustlings.
Right, so Steve-O, he's upset with you. He wants to play Cilla Black covers. You want a bit of synth work with other people. NME announces the split before it's actually happened. It happens. There's a dispute over royalties. And there's an understanding from what I've read that you thought you were on 40-40, 10-10. You and Steve-O getting 40 each, the other two geezers 10 each. But they weren't happy about it, were they? And there was a battle over royalties.
Yeah, that happened. Yeah.
So you got Andy Rourke settling because he was on the gear and he wanted the money to get a score.
No, that's a little bit of a reductive narrative, but he wasn't on the gear actually. Yeah, I mean, Andy and myself, we came out of a culture in teenage years, Margaret Thatcher's Britain, where there was a lot of drug use around, and Andy fell prey to the hard drugs for a short time in his life, and then got over it much before his 20s were out. You know, he got over it like in his late 20s. But such is pop culture and celebrity narratives define people by all kinds of things, and it becomes very reductive. So, you know, that's never really been pointed out, I think, sufficiently, that, you know, there's a tiny little window in his life. Right. Yeah, well, he was my mate, so tiny little window in his life that you shouldn't define him. I don't think anyone should be defined by anything for a tiny little window in their life.
So was there a period after the Smiths broke up where you worried that was you done? Or were you always quite confident that you could just bounce back and go off? Because you were only 23, is that right, when you broke up?
Yeah.
So you'd achieved all that. Did you feel like, oh shit, now what?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
How long did that feeling last?
Well, luckily for me, it didn't really last very long, but it was very intense. And it was actually before I left the band, I had to look at, well, what if this is it, you know? So because I didn't want to be, I wanted to make sure I was making the right decision and whether things, you know, were really, couldn't be fixed. So I looked at, I had been through that experience, and it was very intense and heartbreaking. But luckily, when I did leave, I got in a band with Chrissy Hine, who was in the Pretenders for a short time, and she's a good friend to this day. And then the band, the Matt Johnson from the so I got
What's with the fucking
Why?
name? Come on.
I didn't come up with the name.
Did you try and persuade him?
By then it was too late.
Who did that? I mean, what do you think about that name? It's very hard to say.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's very annoying.
You sound like a fucking stuttering moron if you're trying to ask for the record in a
Turn it
store.
up.
It's
Half
tricky,
price.
yeah. Well, I think fans like it because they feel committed. Do you know what I mean? They feel like they're going that extra yard, really. But it's kind of a little bit of an ask for a fan, but you know, but fans like to show the commitment, I think. So when I joined I was already friends with Matt Johnson,
Right.
and there's a story behind that, because before I formed the Smiths, I was going to be in the Matt Johnson and I were really had a connection as songwriters and friends, but because we were both young and I didn't I couldn't afford to live in London or get the train even to London. We kind of made a little bit of a pact that should we ever make it and should it ever our stars align, would I be in there again? So to come back to that's
fucking
happened.
loyal, this
That's
guy.
a beautiful narrative where you've actually done it.
You're stuck to
You
your
actually
word.
said if we ever make it, and you kind of part of you feels like it might not happen, and it has, and then fucking hell.
Our sponsor, Gary Platt from Wellsbourne Market, he asked to be involved in the show. He's going to just ask a question.
Hello?
Listen, I'm at the podcast now. We got Johnny Marr. And
Johnny Marr.
we want you to ask a question as our sponsor, Wellsbourne Market. Do you have a question for Johnny Marr for the pod?
Johnny Marr. Johnny Marr rings a bell. He used to be a musician. In the band.
He's still a musician.
I haven't heard of him for years.
No, he's around. He's here. Do you have a question? Just a question for him.
What colour pants is he wearing today?
All right.
A navy blue and black stripe.
Navy blue and black stripe.
You keep safe. Be good. Bye-bye.
Jeez, get
All right, bye.
Fair enough. I'm starting to hear kind of
near a hook.
in my
Something
head,
coming.
Something's coming, yeah. And it's acoustic.
Is that always happening
It's
for you, Johnny?
acoustic because it kind of got a cowboy vibe to
Is
it.
that always? Is there always a lick rattling around in there? A draft, a first draft, something? You always sort of cocking your ear just to listen.
Yeah.
Can we do?
Yeah.
We got a guitar. Can we try?
Is there anything rattling around in there now? Like, have you got any licks just sort of bubbling
I could-
away?
No,
I was thinking of doing a song for the pod. I think it should be upbeat, like
Upbeat,
a
yeah, that's right.
anthemic song. And now I got some lyrics. I'll try and
You did? Oh,
if you fancy doing it, we'll try it.
yeah. Okay. So usually then, okay. So I think the key of G is very upbeat. I think
What's the key?
it's
And
a musical colour, if you will.
All right.
Very nice.
Okay. All right. So
Oh. Oh. Yeah. I'm a rock and roll podcaster.
Mental health,
Like Nish Kumar, James A. Castor.
mental health,
This is men's mental health.
men's mental health.
Men, talk. Men, talk. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to fucking pay.
Okay.
On Patreon, fucking pay. It's not even that much fucking money.
£3 a month.
And soon you'll feel so sunny.
In your head.
Sunny. I feel sunny. Oh! Talk. Man. Wellsbourne Market.co.uk. It's okay to not be okay.
It's okay to not be okay.
I'm a rock and roll podcaster. Oh! Oh! And I got Johnny Marr on the guitar here.
Beautiful. Even faded it out.
This guy's a fucking pro.
Wow.
That was incredible. Thanks so much.
Fucking hell.
I felt good, guys.
That felt great, and you give him back. I mean, you're a man who's worked on his wellness, to use a modern word.
How is your mental health, by the way? It's good?
Yeah, it's like anybody's. You have to. Yeah, you have to.
You know, the
Be
inside.
you have to be vigilant.
Do you ever see a therapist? You ever done that before?
I've done that. Yeah.
Not for a while.
No, not for a while.
Do
but
rock
I miss
stars,
it.
because wouldn't you be worried about being recognized or when you see the therapist, or do the rock stars have a sort of therapist they all go to who's fucking heard it all?
Well, I kind of cheated a little bit because my experience with therapy is with someone who I knew. It was a friend of mine, so
They gave you therapy,
Hang on, you spoke to a friend?
yeah, it was a
Who's a
therapist.
therapist?
Yeah,
but a friend.
it's kind of a bit like a freebie. But
Sounds like a conversation. I've been seeing my therapist for years, and I think it's a fucking jerk off. I arrived one day, I was in a good mood. I said, I don't need this fucking therapy. I'm feeling all right. And she said, that's when the real work can begin. That seems like a fucking coincidence to me.
yeah, I just chalk that down to $300 or whatever wasted. Sorry to say that, but I really would.
Can I see your hands again, by the way? Just.
So, Johnny, we like to start a rumour on the pod. Well, I've got a rumour. Cliff Richard still writes to Sue Barker once a week in spite of the injunction.
I shouldn't laugh at that, but because poor old Cliff. I'd say that's true, yeah.
You're a clean living guy. You like giving shit up. What's next? What are you going to give up next? Water, sex, fizzy drinks, holidays?
Caffeine.
Caffeine.
I'm working on that. I'm bad with the caffeine.
Man, what we talking? How many a day?
Several cups of tea, but I'm into white. I get into white tea.
Right. Is that the one with a flower in it?
Yeah, it does have a flower in it. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
A few of them have flowers in it, some green, but it's pretty pokey. But I mean, I know it sounds trite, but that's what I need to quit because it you know, I need
Does
to
it affect
calm down.
creativity, really?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Do you ever still get demos from people? Do people come and give you a demo?
Yeah, you get an MP3.
But back in the day,
you'd
you'd have
from yes.
You get a CD, and would you tend to laugh about it with all your friends, or would you just throw it straight in the trash?
Basketball practice.
Okay. Well, there was a time, I think, it sounds a little unkind, but you know if something's not going to be really decent enough quality, or if people need to get better or whatever, quite often by the titles, because if the titles have really, some people, when people are starting out, myself included, you fall into these traps of just sort of, you know, not really having your own kind of voice and all that. So that's a nice way of putting it. But I don't laugh at anybody.
Oh, that's nice, you. Come on. Who did you steal off when you started?
Mark Bolan T-Rex from the 70s was when I was a kid. I was like, that's how I learned to play. And then there was guitar players in bands in the late 70s when I was just leaving school, like the Pretenders and the Only Ones and the Buzzcocks from Manchester, the girl groups from New York City in the 60s. When there are people that you admire, if you then start studying them and finding out what influenced them, I always remember it once being described as, if you were a David Bowie fan, it was a bit like an advent calendar, whereby he's turning people onto Kraftwerk and
Robert Fripp.
Yeah. It's a good example.
Right, so you go into the geezer you like, and then you go into what he likes, and then you're slightly further away from being caught nicking.
That's 100% correct.
Right. So there was an open letter from Steve-O in 2022.
Oh, right, Morrison, yeah.
Morrison, he leaves. He does an open letter asking you to stop talking about him. But then this year I heard there was fucking rumours of a reunion, and he said yes, and you said no.
Yeah.
Right, so he said yes. I mean, ever the contrarian. From what I can tell, he always just does what you don't expect him to do.
Okay.
Is it true? But there's never been a rift between you guys, but he knew that it was good PR to have a public spat because he thought that you'd be billionaires in 2030. So he wanted to hold back, because we've got a leaked document here, as you can see that up on the screen, from Morrissey. Johnny, let the fools wait. They don't know what they want. Give it 5 more years and we'll retire on an eider down of fat girls' tears. Billionaires, my boy, will be billionaires. Just hold tight, Johnny. And you thumbed it up there. We can see that.
Pretty damning, that.
I don't know where you guys got that from.
It was a leak.
It is pretty damning, yeah. It is pretty damning.
Do you think there's a reason that there's not many bands these days because you could do it all on a fucking computer?
Things change, and the technology has changed the way bands are, but technology has always informed the music. Jimi Hendrix in the 60s was informed by technology, and the Beatles were informed by technology. So that's just the way it is, really.
But is it killing the soul of music that every little shit can make it on their home computer?
Right.
They're not out there meeting people, sharing experiences, getting revved up on a dream.
No
being
live
a team,
stagecraft.
Being on a mission like a band. You've got to have that sense of mission. You're not going to get that on your fucking Pro Tools, are you?
I agree with all of that. I like that you don't have to pay for expensive studio time. I had to blag studio time for the Smiths when we were starting out, and go into the studio on New Year's Eve when I was about 17, 18, because I knew that was the only time that I would get free studio time, and I told the studio owner that I would look after the studio in return for a bit of studio time. So that's what I had to do. So I am aware that it's great for the people using the technology, but the culture of bands and it's very, very difficult nowadays. Absolutely, and a lot of it also is to do with like developers buying up venues.
Right.
You know that small little places.
They're all gone. People
Really
don't go
pretty
out
much.
more. The fucking Gen Zs, the kids who watch them, well, they're incels, but the young kids today, they don't drink, they don't do drugs, they don't go
No,
to
they got the gym and
And
they
your
do-
own son,
massacres.
he's in a clean cut band, straight edge.
He's an admirer of Fugazi. And,
I've listened to him. He sounds like a punch up in a fucking cupboard.
Good, great guitars though, and he's an admirer of that and of that way of doing things,
Right,
which
right.
is lucky for him because that's the way you have to do it these days.
So they're thinking, come on, mate, ring your dad. We've broken down. He's like, no, Fugazi wouldn't do this. We don't do this.
That's pretty much what happened. Yeah.
Right.
I respect
Well,
that. Should we do some quick fire? Would you rather be a rabbit or a pig?
Rabbit.
T-bone steak or line a blow off a beautiful broad's asshole?
The second option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How soon is now?
Very.
What difference does it make?
Plenty.
Cliff Richard, harmless, valuable, cross-generational, clean-cut entertainer, or creepy old man with a secret?
I'd say the first one, former.
Okay.
Where were you when you first heard Scatman by Scatman John?
In a taxi.
Where were you when you first heard Rolf Harris was a nonce?
On my couch watching the tea time television probably.
Right. Who do you hope is a nonce?
Boris Johnson.
Good shout. Is there a way back for Bobby Davro?
No. No.
Right. Damning.
Sorry. Unequivocal.
Is it true that Bobby Davro turned up at the People's Choice Awards in '91 while you were trying to get off with Tanita Tikaram? And cock blocked you?
Yeah. That's true, yeah.
Right. That'll do it.
There you go.
There's a scoop.
That's where it is.
Johnny,
Damn, you guys are good.
Oh, yeah.
it's been a blast. Thank you for coming in. Have you enjoyed yourself?
Oh, yeah, it's been great to be here.
You're an incredible man. Thank you for your time.
So are you.
Would you like to sponsor this episode because we're running out of funding?
Yep, I'll sponsor it.